Thank you very much. It's an honor to be up here. I've been, attending this event off and on for about 18 years, and I hope my presentation lives up to expectations. As many of you know, I started the Lewiston Auburn Economic Growth Council a year ago, January 1st, and I'm still there, so that's a good thing. And I'm pleased to be working with the cities of Lewiston and Auburn, and also to give this review and update and forecast of Central Maine. I want to thank Scott Benson, who joined our team, and Maura Moody, who helped me put these materials together. And I haven't even touched the button yet. Is this it? Okay, we'll try it in a minute. So I've updated these slides literally yesterday, so hopefully these are the updated one. If you want any of these, please be in touch and we'll be glad to get them to you. They're a little more visual, a little more data as per Shelley's request. On with the update. First, let me give thanks to a number of people who gave us some information and data. Kevin Fletcher from Malone Real Estate, Tom Dunham from Dunham, of course, Chad Sylvester at Androvise, Rob Baldacci and Tony at Baldacci Real Estate, Chris Pazik at CBRE Bolus, and some of my friends and colleagues in economic development, including Patrick Wright in Gardner, Nate Rudy in Waterville, Brad Jackson at Central Maine and First Park, and Keith Luke and his team in Augusta. Thank you all for giving us some information that we could share with everyone. So briefly, we're going to talk about what I've learned, again, in 1 year in central Western Maine, but also look ahead. And recognize I'm an economic development guy, so my perspective is that angle. So please recognize that I appreciate working with commercial realtors in everywhere I've worked, and particularly now in Lewiston, Auburn, and my colleagues in economic development. You know, it's all local. Every project is local. Economic development is local. But we do around here in Maine do a good job of working together. Just briefly, planners are not economic developers or vice versa, but we have a lot of people that think we do great things. At the end of the day, we talk and do meetings and make deals, hopefully. So secondly, you know, when the price is high, people think you sell your product at you're selling good stuff. So let's keep the prices high for you and for economic development. That'll help everybody. And finally, it's about the customer, right? So when Mr. Dumpty's looking for an egg carton at the right price, let's find what the customer needs in the community. He or she needs it. So in Kennebec Valley, the Coney Flatiron building has been converted to a, I think, 48 unit senior housing. That's a recent project in Augusta. There was a groundbreaking for a Hilton Homewed Suites on Western Avenue. 20,000 square feet of new retail space opened at Marketplace, including Elevation Burger, Chipotle, and Orange Leaf. And Mr. Richard Parkhurst has acquired 275 Water Street, the former Gagliano's Patty Buck Bridal Building in Augusta. And the plans there are for upper floors, market rate apartments, and retail on the ground floor, and that is that building at 275 Water Street in Augusta. In Kennebec Valley, there is an RFP on the street. Many of you must know about this and probably know more than I do, but I hear it's one of the worst kept secrets that the state is putting an RFP out for a 225,000 square foot facility. Kevin Matson was quoted in the paper as saying, that's a new planet in the solar system in the Augusta market. You're also aware that Colby College is doing a lot of new investments in downtown Waterville. Some significant public-private partnerships going on to redevelop properties in downtown Waterville. And the redevelopment of the Hathaway project continues. Again, Paul Bogoshi and his team are doing a lot of work there. I saw Paul this morning. He said that the first primary building, I think he said, was 95 or 98% full with Class A office and retail. There's approximately 200,000 square feet of space available in two buildings there. And I believe that's where Collaborative Consulting will start their IT operation, starting with 20 people. But if they plan to reach their goal of 200 people, they too will be taking some of that space. And that, of course, is the Hathaway project. Another significant project has been announced down the road, the Trafton Properties Interchange Project. Trafton Properties and the Maine DOT have come to an agreement of $9 million to build this interchange. Trafton Properties plans 800,000 square feet of building at this interchange to add to an existing 400,000 square feet. And by the way, there's another 900 acres around there that can be developed. Back to Waterville. Waterville Creates, my friend Nate Rudy is doing some significant work in downtown Waterville. They've recently received a grant, a $1.5 million grant to continue focused work around the creative economy in downtown Waterville. In Gardner, the Libby Hill site is continuing to develop. In fact, I think I'm allowed to announce it's being renamed the Gardner 295 Business Park at Libby Hill. Recently, Maine's only USDA-inspected poultry facility, run by Commonwealth Poultry, has been located there. At the same location is a red meat slaughter facility, and there's also plans to put in a flash freeze facility. So, as I'm going to comment in a minute in terms of forecast and looking ahead, niche is important, and it appears that Libby Hill has a niche in that arena. Gardner received a $300,000 grant to clean up the T.W. Dick site and selected developers collaborative to put in affordable housing and medical arts project. In Lewiston, Auburn, and Western Maine, there's been a few exciting developments, particularly up around Oxford as well. There's a new hotel, the Hampton Inn. It's a 90-room hotel across from the casino, and a number of other retail developments have sprung up along there as well. I would suggest that any time a private investor puts $40 million into the state of Maine, that's a significant project, and regardless of where it is. And that's roughly the project in Auburn, Maine, being put forth by Miracle Enterprises. This is a redevelopment of the London Suite building. This is a drawing of how that redevelopment will take place. It will become a medical tourism project that provides medical services, treatments, and tourism adventures to its members from around the globe. Furthermore, in Lewiston, Auburn, and Western Maine, there's been some other important inventory added to the market, one of which is the Hart Transportation Facility just off the Turnpike. This is where they've relocated their headquarters. They have other lots available, a capacity of 50 to 60,000 square feet available there. Just down the road from there is another site that is online called the Auburn Enterprise Center, build-to-suit sites, again, of available inventory in central Maine. To continue on with Lewiston, Auburn, and Western Maine, similar to Justin's comments, there's been a lot of transactions in the last year. Again, from my experience and being relatively new, but a lot of turnover in transactions, people buying buildings, buying properties, and putting some money into it and leasing out everywhere from Lisbon Street and up and down Center Street in Auburn. That includes 6,000 square foot new warehouse at Federal Distributors in Lewiston, a new Alzheimer facility in Lewiston. And a number of the shopping centers as well have been repurposed to add urgent care facilities and healthcare facilities in the Lewiston-Auburn area. So that's a brief summary from an economic development person's perspective. Let's look ahead. From an economic development standpoint, I think some of the work and some of the public and private partnerships going on in Waterville around Colby College and the investments in downtown are significant and a good model for a number of communities to follow. Also, that addition of that 225,000 square foot office space in any community will do a lot to the existing market and transfer of office space in the Augusta area. The Trafton Properties interchange that I mentioned, that's a significant thing to look ahead to. And I would propose to you that ongoing, continued small incremental developments in downtowns, up and down the interstate and I-95, all around the state of Maine. There's an important thing to be looking ahead forward, finding the right investor to do that. And again, I've got to highlight again the Miracle Enterprise investment in Auburn. That's going to bring significant new investment into central Maine, and its impact will be felt all around Maine as the visitors to that facility bring their capital and look for new projects. Also in Lewiston, Exit 80, a TIF, a tax increment financing deal, was just struck that will facilitate the addition of this inventory, 2 million square feet of commercial warehouse, 540,000 retail, and you can read the rest. Significant development of inventory off Exit 80. And again, the redevelopment of Lewiston Auburn, I just got to give one plug with the interchanges, the rail and intermodal facility. As Justin was alluding to, there is opportunity in central Maine outside the Portland market because there's inventory in the central and western Maine market. Now some data. Thanks to, again, our friends in commercial real estate for giving us some of these numbers. Absorption rate of 1.66, generally in western Maine, but specifically in the Lewiston Auburn metro area. About 32 months of supply on the market. Here's some commercial rates, anecdotal information: retail 9 to 12, triple net, office 6 to 12, and industrial 4 to 5.5. Some additional data we put together off of LoopNet last night. I think it was last night. This shows average asking lease prices and average asking sale prices per square foot in December in different metro areas. And I put metro areas up here for an important reason. As you all know, site selectors, and Justin alluded to site selectors and new projects coming from out of state, they look at MSA data. And this reflects MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area data. And it shows average lease rates. Again, this is just December data in office, industrial, and retail. You can see the range there from Lewiston Auburn MSA from roughly 11. Portland up in the 13 to 14 range. And the rest of metropolitan Maine, which of course you add in the Augusta and I'm forgetting the other one. Oh, Bangor, sorry, Tanya. Metro areas, and you get the average across the state. These are asking prices again on the bottom right in terms of office, industrial, and retail. Again, the Lewiston Auburn metro area, about 65 to 70 per square foot. Portland running higher than that, up above that. And average around state of Maine around the 80 to 110. So, moving forward, from what I've learned from gathering this data from friends and colleagues, slow, gradual, positive trend. I think you all know that. You see what's going on in the markets in the world. I've talked to some industrial companies in Lewiston Auburn, however, and particularly those that are on some leading indicators, and there's some caution in the wind, particularly in this first quarter, and the market may be showing that. So there's some caution going into the year, but I think overall, general optimism that things are going to continue to trend upward. I've indicated a tremendous amount of supply in the central western Maine market from Augusta, Waterville to Lewiston Auburn. There may be a niche in the 10 to 15,000 square foot range that is not in place in a quality way. I will love to hear input from others on the floor later about that, but that appears to be a niche where we have the space to put those buildings, but we may not have those buildings. So some development opportunities there. And I just want to mention that, as I said, started earlier, all development is local, but each community has to find a niche. Each place finds a niche in a focused market and opportunities in those. And I think you're seeing that in Waterville with some investments by Colby. You're seeing it, as I indicated, in Gardner around the meat and fresh food processing, perhaps, warehousing. Lewiston Auburn, we make stuff. It's a manufacturing community, transportation, logistics. And again, every downtown has its own niche and needs to continue to focus on small projects that can move downtowns along, as well as the big ones. Of course, there's some big ones in Lewiston, as you know, that I think will be announced this year. I didn't get the right to say that by Tom, but I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think you're going to hear a big announcement about a big project in downtown Lewiston this year. We all hope so anyways. And again, as you know better than I, it's all about global markets and conditions. We need to all be out there selling the state of Maine. We all have to sell our own place. But on behalf of everyone in this room, if I'm in Montreal, if I'm in Torino, Italy, I'm going to be selling Lewiston, Auburn, but I'm also going to be selling the state of Maine. If they don't come to Lewiston, Auburn, I hope I can bring them to the state of Maine. Thank you very much.